like blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, like you have to get some kind of audio over it, yeah. So guys, tell us a little bit about the United States of Geekdom.
The United States of Geekdom is an all-topics-based geek podcast. We talk about everything. We've done shows on Sesame Street. We've done shows on haven't done anything on Star Wars yet. But we've done stuff on...
That seems very odd to me.
There's a reason why I'm holding off for that. So
well, with only, 100 or 200, how are you?
We're
not quite at 100 yet. But
yeah, we're at 93 episodes strong right now. So we've done quite a few.
And that's a lot of topics.
That's a lot of topics. And it's all a random pull. So every single episode, we have no idea what the hell we're going to talk about next.
I've got to participate on one of them, and it was a lot of fun. Like I really liked it, and I must have done well because they've never asked me back. So you can tell that they're very impressed.
No one's ever asked.
What I had to say.
No repeats.
It's enough just to get the four of us on.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember it took about 30, 45 minutes to get all the audio synced up between everybody.
Oh, no.
Never happened.
But well, you saw what was going on here before the show.
Synced up between all of us. No, we just spend 45 minutes just BSing. That's all we do.
Yeah, you thought that was sound test. That was just BS.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Get everybody a little comfortable.
It wasn't trying to find the range between my soft talking and Rick's, very deep guttural.
Guttural, really? Guttural. Okay. So
freakish would also be a good
freakish
Romano-esque, I think.
Romano, yes.
That's actually that's very true.
Well, he is the Ware Romano. A lot of people don't realize.
Oh my gosh. The
poor man's Ray Romano.
But yeah, USG made its debut at AllCon 2010. We basically announced that because we were there originally as my other podcast, Amazing Comic Cast, but then we realized we were talking about a lot more other than just comics.
I think it was realized for us. Someone
wrote
in
and said, for us. So,
by the way, as a comic book podcast, you're doing a lot of shows on like Monty Python.
Yeah, this show originally is the Del OL show, started as a comic book show, and then we got one episode of comic books, and then it evolved into guests and whatever we felt like talking about, whatever interested me.
What is it now? What do you?
We call this a cornucopia of hilarity to keep it vague so that no one really knows what to expect from us, and that way they're not disappointed.
Unless they tune in looking for corn.
That's right.
That's cornucopia, yes.
The shiny object of the week.
Yes.
They were like, I thought the show was dedicated to just cornucopia talk, and I'm really disappointed.
And I'm just silly for Thanksgiving, so that's why I tuned in.
That's my specialty.
But yeah, we basically announced at AllCon 2010 that was the last year for Amazing Comic Cast, and then 2011 we started off USG. This is our fifth year as USG. Wow. We're going to hit 100 episodes sometime this year.
Wow.
And it's been a lot of fun. We have easily more than 200 episodes on our feed right now, though, on our iTunes feed, because we had a lot of special editions. We had a show for a while called The Collector Sector. We had.
And it's an audio podcast.
Yeah, it's an audio podcast. Yeah, nobody wants to look at our regular.
There was a reason for that.
There is a reason for that. So yeah.
And then all of a sudden,
for radio,
yeah. Then all of a sudden, Jan says, "Why don't you bring one of your audio shows to Deep L?" I'm like, "No, you don't understand. There's a reason
Jenna,
nobody gets."
You host.
I hope which one is it? The Rancor Pit live, and of course we've just added the Hey Kids Comics live, which we've been running for about 6 months. And Rancor's almost a year old now. So, God.
Oh, so it's going to start drinking soon.
Yeah.
Now, in Germany, they start drinking in 9 months.
We've been breastfeeding it so far.
Y'all are always big in the Comic-Con scene, and this year AllCon's coming up. So what are y'all doing this year for AllCon?
Well, AllCon this year, for as far as USG goes, I'm hosting the 5th anniversary of Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog.
I love that.
That is the 5th anniversary of him getting them to let him show it.
In fact, that'll be our first break. I'm going to go ahead and put that in.
Yeah, so because that was a bit of a challenge there, because it was one of those things where it had been around and you could possibly get the screening rights, but they weren't going to just give it to you.
I had to contact the Directors Guild, the Writers Guild, the Actors Guild.
Oh, so you went the legal way.
I tried to go the legal way. I eventually found out that you have to contact the Time Science Blood Club, which is the production company that they used for the
I thought
short
this was
film.
an accurate British scientific magazine, and I'm like,
and then it was
the Journal of American Medicine.
It was eventually a direct line to their lawyers, and I've been in contact with their lawyers. Had a great relationship with them for the past 5 years. They've been fantastic. I absolutely love working with them, and every year they actually look forward to hearing from us. Which
They've
is
actually been
great.
using them also for class action suits as
Yes.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they charge you anything, or is
They
it
charge me
under-
nothing because it's a strictly non-profit screening. We make no money off of this at all.
Right, but it doesn't fall under fair use because it's not educational. So
Right.
you just need the rights to
Yeah.
distribute it. Oh, see, that's
If
cool.
only we'd thought about making it educational.
Yeah, if you did make it educational, that's
Yeah.
100% fair
Yeah.
use. Yeah, or to critique the piece itself. So if afterwards you had a Q&A or if you talked about it, again, that's you can show the entire piece. If you
Well, especially if
critique
we
it.
had a written test.
Roadhouse. We should have done that with
Yeah, we
Roadhouse.
should have done that with Roadhouse. So,
Everybody tell me everything right about this movie. Correct, the movie. That's it, everything.
there's nothing wrong with this movie.
Trick question. Nothing.
But
was
yeah,
wrong
the
with this
impressive thing was the gauntlet that you used to have to run, and
It was-
now you just simply
Just shoot off one email.
It's
and
a
that's it.
new year.
Wow.
Can I have it again? And they're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
That's a
And-
great piece, man.
But also, when they got him on the phone, they thought it was Ray Romano. They would do anything.
Romano
'cause-
totally wants to use our- yeah.
Everybody loves Raymond. You know.
That's not the name of the show.
That is not. No.
Oh, and it's, everybody hates Chris and everybody loves Seinfeld? I don't remember what it was.
It was
Anyway,
Dick Van Dyke.
so what are y'all going to be doing this year at Alcon besides the?
So we've
Dr.
got that.
Horrible?
I'm also through my other podcast. I'm hosting a one of Cole's game shows. So Don't Lose Your Geek
Whose
Card.
penis is this? that's one of my favorite ones that you
It's a
do.
working title. I
He
think.
just, all he does is maybe he'll close their eyes, puts his penis in their hand. He's like, "Go ahead, tell me who's." Tell me whose
That we've
penis
been
this
trying to develop that for a few years now.
What do the
It
lawyers
just
say about that?
it hasn't firmed up. So yeah.
is. Yeah, they make money whenever else anybody else does.
Actually, it's the newest sensation. It takes place entirely in the dark. It's called "Who's in My Mouth."
Yeah, it was originally the working title was Rick's Turn in the Barrel, but but yeah, in fact, for the past 4 or 5, 6 years now, I've been in charge of the game show department.
Yeah.
Mrs. Jedi Cole and I actually pioneered game shows at Alcon in 2006.
Is that on the marriage certificate, by the way?
Yeah, it was her requirement. Yeah.
My name is Catherine. If you want to use that,
I was just trying to give you that Mr. T kind of mystique there
kind of
for the kids.
a share kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mrs. Jedi Cole, pity the fool.
We actually started with OnCon. We were comic and toy dealers for a little over 20 years as a piece of the Action Collectibles, and we started with Alcon as dealers, and we got real excited about it. Wanted to create some content for it, and put together a game show. And after that, it got to be quite a rush.
Yeah, yeah. But the
So,
very first one we did, we did Geek Match Game.
Geek Match
Match
Game.
Game.
We did it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday show back then. We did one each day,
and
and we actually got to borrow some of their.
some of the celebrity
celebrities.
guests. It was fun. Writing humor is really difficult, kids.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Especially targeted
but,
humor that has to fit a certain.
That's why I like retroactive humor. You say a bunch of crap, and then you piecemeal out the parts that were funny afterwards,
Some
and
of
you
it made it
write
work.
those for something else. Yeah.
Ultimately, I guess the short version of the story is they had all the dealers they needed, but they didn't have all the content they needed. So we switched over to being content providers, and we've done more and more each year. And I think we're doing, was it 29 different?
There are actually
performances?
there are 17 game shows this year. What is it? I think 13 of which fall directly under Games in Theory, which is
Right.
the game show department.
Lord.
Most of those are ones that we're producing ourselves. There are 2 different groups producing the other 4, 2 each of the other 4 shows. There are 17 different game shows that all fall under the Games in Theory umbrella.
How do you pick the contestants?
This is funny you should mention.
Kidnapping.
Yeah. We usually will use a brain scan. Failing that, we use this low-tech method called a 2-part ticket.
Gotcha.
Anyone who wants to be in the contestant pool is issued a ticket. Then we randomly draw 3 people. We are starting to remind people that just because you might want to be a contestant, think about the theme of the game show
Right.
before you volunteer for because if you don't know anything about Star Wars, chances are Don't Lose Your Geek Card Star Wars Edition is not going to be a place where you want to be sitting on the panel.
Like the one I host every year is called the Don't Lose Your Geek Card Statistically Difficult Disney Edition. And
you're a big fan of Disney.
And I'm a huge Disney
Yeah.
fan. In fact, my other podcast is a Disney podcast. So
Is that a bumper sticker on your car?
No,
Podcast,
no.
a Disney podcast?
I may go ahead and create that now, actually. But no, like I started coming up with that, and then coming up with questions. The first year that we did it, 2 years ago, we were just floored by how much everybody knew. So we upped the ante. We made the questions more difficult. Big mistake.
Yeah, not a lot of people know the name of the doctor administering to Walt's head.
Yeah, or
Jerry.
or the last name, or the Walt's wife's maiden name. I mean, you know.
Oh, sorry.
Let's talk a little about this thing, because we've been, as a show, we've been wanting something other than the old rule of just say your name to kind of buzz
Oh, yeah,
in.
this is,
And you can't give everybody the thing that sounds alike, because that defeats the entire purpose. So
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about this guy.
Now,
'cause
this is
amazing.
this is an amazing little piece. This is called an egg spurt, which takes its name from the little egg-shaped little ring.
Are you talking down to me? Of course, that's why.
It has lots of pretty colors.
I'm assuming a broad audience for your show, Del.
All five
board
of them.
audience for my show. So, yeah.
That's why you brought us in. But Alcon bought one of these for us about 5 years ago. They ran about $90 back then. They dropped to about $75. You can often find them even a little cheaper.
That's still awesome.
But yeah, even at any price, they were a bargain. They've since bought a second one for us because we just keep adding more and more game shows, and more people are like, gimme. So they've got to have one ready to roll. But the nice thing about this is you can have up to 6 players. Individuals can ring in. You can tell who rang in first.
Mm-hmm.
Matt, here, take my camera. See if you can't get a little closer on that.
Here we are.
that guy here.
And like if Catherine and Rick were to be both ringing in on a question, let's assume that they knew. Oops, sorry about that.
Well, so what's the answer, right?
I'm gonna get up a little bit.
What was the
There you
question?
go.
Oh.
Boom.
There you go. Try another one here real quick. One of the two, both of you.
Yellow, go. No.
Oh yeah.
You're not yellow. You lost that round.
So
Oh, rats.
we can also count down. If somebody balks, they can give them. The time limit is set in. And the nice thing about that was some of the earliest game shows where it wasn't just trivia and just one at a time trivia or things like that. When we wanted people to be able to differentiate between contestants,
Right.
we had some little hotel clapper bells.
Because I don't see color or
Yeah.
gender. So we needed some way to tell who was ringing in.
I don't think you realize that these have not been sexed yet. Until
Oh,
they
okay.
hatch, we won't know what
Oh,
they're
they're non-fertilized.
yeah, they're
experts.
unfertilized.
We don't know the
experts.
pullets.
That's right. We don't know the hens from the pullets yet, but
Very obscure. Okay, but I like that.
well, that's for the people who watch the
That's going to be a question on one of the first games.
That's right. That's
Well, that's for the Texas
gang on
Ranch and
farmers
Rodeo
only.
crowd who
Right,
might
yeah.
be tuning into your show
That's
as
what they're
well.
gonna love the
Oh, I get that one!
Farmer crowd.
Finally, yeah.
We do one joke for every other audience group. We do one joke per show for
But the
them.
thing we determined early on is with the clapper bell, they all sound the same. So if two people
Right.
hit at the same time,
Plus, there was no guarantee that they would actually work.
yeah, there was one that
Depending on how they'd be holding it, they could be holding the clapper bell, to keep it close to them, and then they hit it and it wouldn't make a sound.
because they were preventing it from actually
gotcha,
vibrating. Yeah, with some physics lessons we learned along the way, and
It's a lot of it's been a learning curve, but
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
been a whole lot of fun, and the crowd at Alcon has been fantastic, really well received. We get some positive feedback, and
It's my favorite. My
And-
favorite one of all the ones around every year. It's
excellent.
huge. It's
Yeah,
always
it-
got so many panels.
it's hard to describe to a lot of people who've been to a lot of the other conventions locally because it is unique,
Yeah.
and they're not accustomed to a convention being something other than a dealer room, for example.
Right.
Alcon has a dealer room, but it has a show.
Yeah.
It's a show with a dealer room attached, not the other way around.
Yeah.
kind of like an old school fantasy fair.
Yeah, if you remember
ask
the
your
old Dallas
parents.
Fantasy Fairs, yeah,
Yeah,
ask mom and
absolutely.
dad if they remember.
Scarborough Fair.
Different sort of.
Are you
thing.
saying it's exactly
almost
like Scarborough Fair?
It's almost like an
Thank
indoor Scarborough Fair
When
in a sense,
the Dallas
without
Fantasy
the.
Fair used to have back before the internet. They would
What's
Back
that
show,
before many of you were
they
born.
would show.
They would get in their stone carts and run their feet over to wherever.
Exactly. See, you do understand. They would have video rooms where you could see anime where you could never see it anywhere else, and they would have panels, and they would have opportunities to experience a lot of stuff that you just wouldn't have access to otherwise, in all sorts of different rooms, going on all at the same time, parallel programming.
Yeah.
So this is kind of akin to that.
Like, for example, USG is also doing Action Stars of the 80s, and it's myself, Roy Buckingham, who's our co-host.
I love Roy, yeah.
Also, Jason from SCNS. SCNS.
You're asking for trouble. With
Yeah, I know.
SCNS
And our
Jason Dilworth?
yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
No,
And Andrew Farmer, and we're just going to be talking 80s movies, and Roy has put together this 40-minute action movie montage that he refuses to let us see it until it comes out, because he says that we can't handle its awesomeness.
Right. Well, then shouldn't you want to prepare like a vaccine? To get a little ready for it?
All
I'll just watch Die Hard.
We've had some trouble with some parents not wanting to use the vaccine.
Oh, God, yeah.
I told him that it has to absolutely positively end with the sawhorse scene from Jim Cotta.
Oh, God, yes.
You would invoke Jim Cotta.
I would.
Yeah.
Matt is
Jim
a
Cotta.
aficionado on obscure films. Have you seen Jim Cotta?
I have not. This is
You know the
one that
film
I
we're
missed.
talking about?
I am
Okay,
familiar
yeah,
with it.
it's fantastic.
I know only that I saw the ads for it on television.
Right.
Jim Cotta, combining martial arts and gymnastics.
Well, I think they did a How Did This Get Made episode, and there was a riff tracks on it, so that's how I saw it, was the riff tracks.
I found out about it because a friend of mine just posted it and was like, "You need to see this scene." I was like, "What the hell is this?"
But I mean, during the course, there are workshops. You can go and learn things like leatherworking, costuming, mask making, makeup.
It sounds like you're talking about a BDSM.
right?
There may be that as well. There actually are
Thank you,
adult.
George.
It translates over, yeah.
There's actually an All Con After Dark track.
Nice.
There's
Oh, there is the burlesque
show?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
burlesque show. Every now, I think a couple of years ago, they had naked girls reading. There are live shadow casts of.
It's
Rocky
very
Horror
weird that
Picture
I know
Show.
way more of the people in the burlesque and naked girls reading than all like the daytime events. Like you three or four about the only people, maybe Jason, and then like I know half the naked girls in the show. It's a very odd thing. It's like all my friends come out at night, and that's really nice. But
And the room parties.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh that's.
Oh my goodness.
I saw the Assassination City roller
Oh,
derby.
the roller derby will be there.
Great,
as well.
great girls. They're always fun to have there, and they had a party two times ago, and I was finally, because normally I'm there with Neither Noir, and so we don't get to leave until after the by
Oh,
like
yeah.
2 a.m. and we were there before everybody and shut down after everybody, and so it's a long, exhausting thing. And luckily, a year or two ago, I was able to get away and go to some of the parties, and there was a Marine there who had just retired. And he was just drunk as shit. And he kept telling one of the girls, he's like, "No, punch me in the face. I can take it. No, go ahead and punch me." And they're like, "I'm not gonna punch." He's like, "Okay, well, slap me. Go ahead and just slap me as hard as you can." And was it Dixie Witch? I think it was. Or anyway, one of the girls just reared back and slapped the shit out of him, and he went down on the floor, and blood came out of his mouth.
my God.
And we were like, "What in the world?" He stood up, and his lips been cut, and it was all burst, and it was
Well, there goes that new
absolutely
game show.
hilarious. Yeah.
I was going to have a new show next year. Punch me as hard as you can. But we I do two talk
So the parties
shows.
are great too.
Yeah.
Thee not just nerdy. Yeah.
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
if you survive Saturday night room parties,
Yeah.
and you're not like at the hospital afterward from getting punched. Rick and I were wandering around one Sunday morning about 7 years ago. 7 years ago. Seven. That's an old
What's in
USG
the box?
show. What's in the box?
In the box.
We were wandering around after one of the on a Sunday morning, and one of the actual All-Con partners was in one of the grand ballrooms with this
God, I
guy
remember
and
this,
his kid, and they were having a Nerf rocket war because there was nothing going on
Yeah.
that early in the morning. So I said, "Okay, come next year." I think for like 6 years, this will be the 6th anniversary of Jedi Cole's Morning After,
Oh,
which
yeah,
is my
I've been to
morning
that,
talk
yep.
show. Yeah, you've been in the audience for Morning After, and we've gone from like 7 people in the audience the first year to we're getting people to wake up and come in, and we do things at that and my other talk show, Jedi Cole Universe Live, where we'll have things like It Came from the Dollar Store Live. We'll have like last year I had Jedi Cole's Bookshelf, where we introduced some books like the Amish Phone Book or the Oxford Mad Libs, the new baby animal book that I think they went a little too far, Baby Insects. Just really, it was a lively look at lovable
Baby
larvae.
fetuses with little tiny
So
fetuses.
adorable
Yeah.
when they're that age.
Fetal animals would be the next step, probably. But
Yeah, zygote babies.
and the
Now, that sounds like a comic book I want to read right
the year
there.
before, we had the Hostess Hunger Games snack cakes that we introduced, because it's snack time. Hunger is no game.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's right, the pita pies.
we had the pita pies and the Katniss cupcakes and the President Snow snowballs and the jalapeno chocolate fireballs.
Well, I tell you
Delicious
what-
on my mark in 3, 2, 1.
Well, with that countdown, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back to talk with you guys a little bit more about Alcon, but about some of the other accomplishments you've had and your biggest failures, the ones that keep you up at night that don't allow you to sleep. I know I've got plenty to talk about, so we're going to be
wow.
back.
I'm sitting here on this show. So.
There's one for you.
Speaking of failures, you're watching Fun Time Good Show on Deep Ellum On Air. That's your fault.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
All right, we're
Hey,
back
the
with
silence. Everybody loves silence.
we're back with Magnum PI here in studio today. Guys, I want to say thanks for stopping in, but you don't get to leave yet. We're going to talk a little bit more. You were talking about Roll to Play is going to have an event.
Is that it? Is that where they are?
Oh, we got all excited.
Nope, YouTube.
Boo,
Actually, let's do a
YouTube.
quick audio check and see if we can get something from our musical guest here. We've been having a little bit of trouble.
When Dell says we, he means he.
Yeah.
I hear
Okay.
things.
Is that is that something you can work with? Yeah, I think we can work. Okay, cool.
All right.
Okay, well.
Yay, audio.
Yay. Next time we'll bring a splitter in.
It's Fun Time Good Audio Show.
That is. And the podcast, the audio only people are just going to be loving this show. So, you were talking about Roll to Play, who's one of my favorite places in all of Dallas.
Tiffany from Roll to
and-
Play
yeah.
is going to have a room that has solid programming from dawn till dusk every single day of the convention. She's bringing Euro games and tabletop and card games, and running different. Just all sorts of stuff.
Oh, yeah, there's like different
entire
games.
weekend.
Yeah.
Now, I
Oh,
do
like
have a
a-
question, though. What is this dawn that you speak of? Because that is a time frame that I do
I'm
not
unaware
understand
of,
at
yeah.
all.
It's the
2
time-
o'clock in the afternoon?
By the way, by the way, our musical guest was nice enough to bring in scones, blueberry scones.
yay.
Can somebody hand me those over there?
Oh God,
The
they're
scones
running.
ran away.
Everybody else just got some during the break, and I'm gonna have to.
None for you.
Yeah. It's excellent. Okay, go on. I'm not here to entertain everybody. You got to do some of the work.
But,
Well, anyway,
but in addition to the gaming track, the tabletop gaming track, every year at Alcon for this will be seventh year.
seventh year.
Seventh year in a row.
7.
If you've ever played the game Monopoly, the board game Monopoly, everybody has. It's been around for
Or
like
the
100
card
years.
game Monopoly,
Yes.
which Matt and I have.
But if you've ever played Monopoly and you're sitting there and you're going along and you're losing all your money and you're having a miserable time, you think, what would it be like if it
I
was...
thought you were. They said Monopoly, not the game of life.
No, not
okay.
the one that was endorsed by Art Linkletter. But if you're wondering, what would this game be like if it was fun to play? Catherine, years ago, close to 10 years ago, came up with the answer
Yeah.
and created Life Isn't Fair Monopoly.
It's a house rules version of the game, which you can have house rules versions, and
But it's been developed and fine-tuned and honed to the point.
you go to jail a lot, but you have a chance to.
Again, are you sure this isn't the game of life? I think,
Depends who you're talking
Oh.
to.
You also get dependent children that eat into your paycheck. You have an opportunity to get on welfare, and when you do have those children, they can make you some extra money.
slave labor.
There's a
You,
lotto.
when you're sent to jail, you have a chance to roll for a lawyer, maybe to get off on a technicality or send somebody else to jail in your place. You play the lottery, so you can go from rags to riches.
Yeah, we have
And
literally during the
so-
course of a game had people go from rags to riches to rags.
So you're not there. If
You're not behind the eight
losing,
ball.
You're not there at the behest of however long it takes for the other person to win.
Right.
Things can change on a dime. Near the end game, when it really starts to get crazy, you can actually marry for money. If you've got a lot of properties and somebody has a lot of cash, you can marry.
That came
My
out of all.
dream.
Yeah,
I
that
think we're
came
gonna
out
have
of
to sit in
Alcon
on a game
for
and do some commentary on it.
Yeah, you should.
You must.
You know what?
runs-
Like we'll do it with text, like they do with the poker games, where we have
Right,
the
that's exactly
commentators.
what I was
on it. We'll call
And
the
for
game.
those of you who don't know Dawn, this is right up your street because
Yeah.
it starts at 11 p.m. and runs till about 2 or 3 in the
Okay.
morning. So-
Right. It's
And that's
an
gonna be Thursday into
overnighter.
Friday
It's
and
best
Friday
when
into
you are
Saturday.
sleep deprived and slightly.
Matt, do you want to do color or do you want to
influenced.
do the main commentary?
Oh, I'll do. I'll go color. You
Okay.
can do the play-by-play.
All right, I'll do the white. You do the colored
Done.
commentary. Perfect. All right.
And also, as far as games and stuff like that go, I'm running a Red Dragon Inn tournament.
All right. Let's hear a little more about this.
Now, Red Dragon Inn is a game. Basically, it's a group of adventurers back from plundering the dungeon, and they go to the inn and have to basically stay conscious from the drinking, stay conscious from the bar fighting, and also keep as much of their gold as they can. It's a game I discovered over at Roll to Play. A lot of fun. It's a game that I've been hooked on for upwards of 3 years now.
Wow.
And getting to run it last year briefly was a lot of fun. So I was like, what the hell? I'm going to make it something
It's
big
like
this year.
virtual inebriation.
Yeah.
I like this idea.
It's like if there was
yeah.
like, Minecraft
If
drunk
there's
or something like that.
that
for
you
video.
really enjoy, that you would like to be at Alcon, approach them and say, I want to bring this to Alcon.
Yeah.
I want to schedule an hour and I want to bring this.
Can I schedule a game of Rampage, the board game? That's my favorite. That's my favorite board game
Probably a
of
little
all
late
time.
for 2015.
Maybe,
'cause I
maybe.
imagine,
That's
but,
okay. I'll work up my skills for
but,
next year.
but
But
yeah,
I think that's
there-
probably my
there
favorite
is an
board game I've
online-
ever played.
On the website, if you go to Alcon, all-con.net, there is a panelist application. And I would highly recommend, if you have an idea, go ahead and get it in for 2016 now.
So that's a good idea, man.
We've been doing this
Yeah.
for so long that we're just like, oh, we're going to do this, this, and this. But I own a department, so
We'll have an ethics and morality talk where it's just dead serious philosophy talks about.
But it
ethics
is
and
very
morality.
much a
You'd be
community-driven.
It'll be the same amount of listeners that we have.
That we have right now.
Five
Yeah.
or six.
I started morning after with 8 people,
Yeah.
7 or
Yeah.
8 people.
What
so-
is
Ethic and
another
moral
also-
theory with dick jokes. That right there, I'm telling you, we'd win some people over.
Something that's really unique with Alcon is you don't have to know somebody who knows somebody to get some programming on the track. Anyone can contact them just cold, put the proposition together for their show, and more than likely it'll be accepted. They are, when they say Alcon, they really mean Alcon. They feature. what was it?
Anime.
They
Anime,
do
manga,
they
comic
do,
people,
They
you've
do
got
cross-dressing,
comics, but
cross-dressing
also-
friendly content.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They do pony
steampunk.
content.
They do
Yeah,
Steampunk.
steampunk is another one.
Literally
just any genre.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it kinda-
fandom you can think of.
Yeah,
This
I guess that's
year-
true. If it has a genre name,
Exactly.
you pretty much accept it there.
Now,
Right.
This year they're showing, and I can't believe Roy got the rights for this. They're showing Meet the Feebles.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Now, Matt, you've seen Meet the Feebles, right? Peter
Meet-
Jackson. All right, we're gonna watch that.
It's
today.
Peter
Meet the
Jackson's
Feebles is-
dirty Muppet movie.
Yeah,
Dirty
it's
Muppet movie.
basically the Muppets on severe lethal doses of acid.
Yeah,
And if they just had sex every single episode of
yeah.
the
If you
Muppet
want to
Show,
see what it's
it's
like to see Muppets
brilliantly
fucking,
funny.
that's Meet the Feebles.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So, and you could tell why they really gave him Lord of the Rings. They're like, well, clearly, if this guy can have 2 rats fucking, he can easily tell this grand saga of Middle Earth.
If he can have a walrus driving out of a whale's ass, yes, let's give him Middle Earth.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It was practice, obviously.
I remember when I found out Peter. Yeah, I remember when I found out Peter Jackson was doing Lord of the Rings. I was like, this is either the dumbest decision ever made, or it's genius. Because I've seen Dead Alive and stuff like that. So it's like I could really see how that would be turned. Like you could take all that puppetry and makeup work and all those special effects. It could be brilliant, or this guy could totally be dropping the ball and you
That
overestimate
would be
him.
the
And
end
then,
of
Of
that
course.
franchise
Yeah.
forever. But we've talked about just the sheer volume of things at Alcon. Over 300 different events going on the course of the weekend. It is Thursday, March the 12th, through Sunday, March the 15th.
And it's 4 days now.
4 days
Right.
straight. And there
4
is
days.
programming all day. In fact, the opening ceremonies on Thursday are something like, 10 in the morning,
Right.
which
Yeah.
I'll be co-hosting with one of the Alcon partners. Or co-hosting by myself again, depending on how things pan out.
Yeah.
But there's so many things to do at AllCon that last year Catherine
I want to see
created
about this. Yeah.
the AllCon Decision Makers. We produced
I'll put it
about
on this
200
camera.
of these,
Yeah. There we go. Let me-
and it's got everything you need to help you figure out if you can't decide what you want to do.
Here,
Pick you one
open
of
it
these
all
up. You've got some little goodies in there, and we just give these out for free and while supplies
Can I see one?
last.
Can I see one?
Absolutely.
No.
And it'll just help you work out
Here.
what you need to do. Plus, it
How
puts
will
you
make
up
you stand in the corner?
financially
So-
slightly over the on the.
Okay,
the
so you got a
weekend.
penny for flipping.
Yeah, we got a
Yeah,
penny.
penny.
to
for
make
flipping.
to make a dichotic.
Yeah.
Plus, you're up a
decision.
penny
Okay.
on the whole weekend right
yeah.
there.
Right, you've already made a profit.
That's right.
We've also got the die, the six-sided die.
Okay.
Okay.
And you've got a broken compass, which supposedly shows you what you desire the most.
Yeah.
So this is like the golden compass.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then from
Or
the-
Jack,
or that-
or
that-
Jack Sparrow's
Jack
compass.
Sparrow.
Or this, yeah, or the altimeter, I guess is what it was.
Yeah.
That's right. So, and like for example, with the game shows, we
I
are
got free Tupperware out of this too.
Sure.
we have finished approximately, and this is not including those other 4 game shows that Half-Ass Productions is not personally doing. We have completed over 900 of these AllCon game show cards for the course of the weekend.
Quiz, yeah, trivia
Different quiz
questions.
cards, trivia questions, or other aspects. We've got a game show called Screen Time. The third round of Screen Time is kind of unique. If you're very familiar with movie quotes, and if you speak in movie quotes, this is the game show for you. But it's like if you took all your favorite movie quotes, typed them out, printed them out, and gave that to your grandma to read. This is how the quotes will be read. It's like, enough is enough. I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. So the idea is you have to know your movie quotes well enough to, you hear that, you're ringing in. And in that third round, you get a point each for the character, the actor, and the movie. So you can get up to 3 points, but you can get as little as 1 point, and it's all point building. So we have a number of different game shows. We are personally, with the game shows I'm involved with, this is not including these other 4, there are between 190 and 200 prizes being given away over the course of the weekend. We have the second year for a new game show Catherine created called Ooh Ooh Ooh, where the entire audience are the contestants.
Okay. And that was
It's
Each
a
this
show
as a
has
result-
55 prizes.
It's a result of the fact that we would have these game shows and the contestants wouldn't know, and the whole audience is doing.
Yeah, they're just
Right.
they got to
Doing
go to
the
the like,
bounce.
somebody's got to pee. They're out there just. So we decided why not reverse that, and we don't have to bring anybody up front. We have
makes sense.
a new game show for the kids this year called Saturday Matinee, in which all the participants will be given prize kind of little gift bags. We've created about 50 gift bags, so even if we don't have 50 contestants, all of those will be given away.
Right.
Yeah, all the kids will get something.
There's about 150 or more
Is it going
decision
to be?
makers.
Is it going to be the measles? Because they
More
already
than
tried that with the
likely.
Disneyland
yeah,
giveaway, and it
the
did not-
Disney beat us to that one.
That'd be Disneyland or the MGM Grand in Vegas now.
Okay.
This has been a vaccination heavy episode.
Vaccinate your
you know.
kids.
Yeah, vaccinated. We should say that. Yeah.
So there, just with the stuff that Games in Theory and Half-Ass Productions. This, by the way, is Hap, the mascot for
Yeah, let's
Half-Ass
get the-
Productions.
Let me get him on this camera.
There we go.
Hap's been with us for about
Does he have a name? Halves? Is that what
Hap.
he's saying?
Hap. Half-Ass Productions mascot. He's been with us for about 7 years now, and has been a very popular part of the AllCon experience.
So what happens the last show of the?
Oh yes, and in
convention?
fact, because Games in Theory and Half-Ass Productions in the United States of Geekdom and Jedi Cult Universe are not above bribing you to come to our events, at every single one of a number of events, we'll have the list here pretty soon. A number of Rick's and Roy's events, pretty much all of our events, game shows, talk shows, panels, so many opportunities. We're going to give you a 2-part ticket if you're in the audience at the end of the show. So no, you don't get it like at the beginning.
Right.
You rush off and do something else. Hang on to that ticket. If you come in on a Thursday show, a Friday show, a Saturday show, Sunday afternoon, 3 p.m., at the final game show, the final show that we're doing for the weekend at Ooh Ooh Ooh.
The showdown.
Yeah. After the show, everybody gets another ticket for attending that show. And that's going to be a full house. All of the half of those tickets, one part, everybody puts it in the bin. we have a drawing for the grand prize. This is our 4th year for the grand prize, and this year we're giving away the big ass Mattel 1966 Batmobile with a Batman figure.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
It's about a $50.
That would go up on my
prize.
fireplace. Yeah.
So we've been giving away a prize every year for 4 years now because we're that shallow. And if you're curious about Alcon, you're like, I've never heard of Alcon. I've never been to a convention before. Thursday, the 12th of March.
And this year they've scheduled it so it doesn't overlap with the St. Patrick's Day
Yeah.
party, which is always the biggest problem because Saturday, the first year I did it didn't overlap, but the second, third, and fourth year I did, it would overlap, and people would about half the people would leave in the middle of Saturday because they'd all go down to Greenville for the the party,
Yeah.
and you were like, well, that sucks. I mean, the whole idea was. You want people here, so I think it's great that they scheduled it.
Oftentimes it's just been a matter of coordinating with the hotel. You just
Right.
couldn't get the dates you wanted, but they've got ideal dates this year.
Right.
But
think so.
Thursday is free. It is a
Free
free
admittance.
tryout
Oh, cool.
day, so you can come in from 10 a.m. straight through to midnight.
That's a good chance.
And
Now,
there
most of-
is stuff all day long. It's
Right.
not like, oh, come in Thursday and there's like 3 things going on. No, is programming all day long. We've got I think 5 game shows during the course of the
Right.
day.
Yeah.
We've got
Right.
And I can
you
tell you
can
from-
pull up a schedule
Yeah.
actually of all the events at Alcon. Was it Alcon.net?
Alcon.net. So yeah, be sure and check out the free admission. That's a big thing. A lot of
Yeah, and
people-
I've
and
been
you just
4
try
or
it
5
out.
years
If you
now.
like
and
it, go buy a ticket. You
yeah,
know
it's
you're
been a
gonna.
lot of fun. I mean, every year that I've gone, I have
But
a
it's
blast.
like 30 some odd, 40 something dollars for 4 days.
Yeah, it's worth it.
I mean, you pay some of these conventions locally. You pay $35, $40, $50. Just
I mean,
for
I
one day.
spend $60 on meth like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if I can get something that lasts a little longer, that's great. Well, guys, I want to say thanks for coming in. We're going to take a
Absolutely.
quick break, another with Dr. Horrible. Then we got our musical guest coming up.
Excellent.
I want to say once again, thanks the United States of Geekdom. You guys have always been great. Perfect. And Jedi Cole, who you can watch your show. Give a little plug for yours.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can check out on. I guess the next show will be next Sunday, a week from today, at 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. here at Deep Ellum on Air for the Rancor Pit Live, and then the weekend after Alcon, we're taking a little bit of a hiatus, and Hey Kids Comics Live will be back the Saturday after Alcon from 11:30 to 12:30.
Very nice. And
You can
you
see
want
what
to
we're
plug
giving
it?
away from the short box.
And how can people find the United States of Geekdom?
You can find us at UnitedStatesOfGeekdom.com. We're on Facebook under United We Geek. We're on Twitter under Join the USG. My Disney podcast is called Rediscovering the Magic. It's under rediscoveringthemagic.blogspot.com. We're on Facebook under Rediscovering the Magic with Rick and Friends. And we're on Twitter under Phantasmacast.
Great.
And don't forget the Ray Romano podcast.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Everybody loves Rick.
And at some point on the Disney show, you will hear me sing Smooth Criminal, Michael Jackson's Smooth Criminal as Ray Romano.
So, and we also we all have the internet. We did get to hear the Seinfeld Fred Durst mashup this week, right? Did y'all get to enjoy that?
No, I haven't heard that. No.
All right, go search that. It's worth it. If I'd thought about it, I'd pulled that up for the break instead. All right, where you're watching Fun Time Good Show on Deep Ellum on Air. You can find us on our website, bigfloppydonkeydick.com. We're also available on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Matt, do we have any other social media that we're forced into because it's 2015 that we barely keep up with?
MySpace?
No, I don't. We got our Friendster account.
We got a geosite.
Geosites, yeah. So visit our websites, geocities.com/funtime-goodshow134. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break and be right back.